It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast, available on iHeartRadio every morning and also on Spotify and Apple and wherever you get your podcast from. Well, it's taken us 12 months to get here, but here we are. It's the 1st of December, a Thursday morning for 2022. And it's funny, isn't it? The year is ending and suddenly it's been pulled into more focus. Funny how a click of a rotary counter moving to the first will do that. And you thought the Christmas music was bad. Now it really gets insane with the run up to Christmas. Coming up this morning, we are in Ipswich, talking about an area of Queensland that is very close to Brisbane without the Brisbane prices. And we'll be talking to Bliss about the affordability factor there in Ipswich. And also coming up next week, we will look at the Dubai real estate market with someone on the ground there who knows plenty that is going on in Dubai. And many different nationalities all over the world are investing into both Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So I'll be looking forward to that conversation coming up next week on the Real Estate Breakfast.
We talk with leading property commentators with analysis, predictions, forecasts, and what's trending every morning from 6:30.
And if you're celebrating your birthday for the 1st of December, happy birthday. You're in the company of Sarah Silverman, the American comedian. She is turning 51. Pablo Escobar would have been celebrating his birthday today, the Colombian drug lord. Bette Midler is turning 76, the American singer. And Woody Allen, starting to get up there a little bit, the filmmaker. He is turning 86 today.
We are just as addicted to property as you are. Every weekday morning from 6:30. It's the Main Centre Forecast with PRD, selling smarter every day.
All right, let's check on your Thursday morning weather. First we go to Sydney, expecting partly cloudy skies. Should be mainly dry with a high of 23 degrees. Ditto for Melbourne, partly cloudy skies but dry weather with 21. Expecting a little bit of rain in Brisbane this morning. 21 is your forecast high. And in Perth today, some possible morning showers and your top today of 25 degrees.
It's your weekday real estate breakfast with news, interviews and predictions every morning on the Real Estate Podcast.
Well, a couple of months back, you might remember we had our road trip into Queensland where we travelled to Hervey Bay, then on to Rockhampton, Mackay and Darwin, and we looked at the price differences to capital cities and the sort of value for money that's on offer, because we know that people are moving for homes, especially first home buyers prepared to move just about anywhere in the country. And Ipswich is an area that we've never discussed before on the podcast, but we're about to change all of that. So let's bring in this morning Bliss Grayson from NGU Real Estate. And Bliss, welcome to the Real Estate Breakfast.
Thanks for having me, Craig. Glad to be here.
Now, I've firstly got to ask you, what does NGU stand for?
NGU, it stands for Never Give Up. We have a lot of ups and downs, and it's sometimes not as easy as I think what a lot of people perceive. Us agents at NGU, that's what we're all about, that never give up attitude to get the job done.
I like it. Never give up. Well, first off, Bliss, and by the way, your name is very unique. I don't know anybody that is called Bliss. Obviously, you get that all the time, but very unique. Never give up, and Bliss will look after you.
Correct. That's it. That's me in a nutshell.
Now, first off, people around the country might not know exactly where Ipswich is, so perhaps give us that location geographically.
No trouble, Craig. So Ipswich, we're about 40 minutes west of Brisbane. So we're not too far away. You just jump on the freeway and you're in the city, like I said, in just a little over half an hour.
Now, you are born and bred, you were telling me off air. I think you got into real estate 2004. That's sort of like 18 plus years. So you would have seen a lot there in Ipswich.
I have, Craig. Like you said, I started in 2004. So end of December mark my 18th year working in the Ipswich real estate industry. And 100%, I've seen it all. I've worked in a variety of different roles. I've been selling in Ipswich for the last 7.5 years. But from what I've seen from 2004 to obviously the end of 2022, there's been some huge changes for our city. And I'm a really proud supporter of Ipswich and love living here and obviously love selling our fantastic property.
Now, I mentioned at the top that first home buyers, they're very keen to move if they find the right house for the right price. This could potentially be Ipswich this morning that they might want to look at. Is that happening in Ipswich for first home buyers moving in?
Definitely. First home buyers, obviously, for them, it's all about value, getting the most bang for their buck. They've, been saving their dollars and it's an exciting time buying their first property. And Ipswich really offers every buyer, but particularly first home buyers, the value for money. So we're not far away from anything, but obviously our median house prices are a little bit kinder perhaps than, those in the capital cities.
Yeah, and we'll get to those median house prices in just a moment. What about people who are not first home buyers? Perhaps the downsizers that have moved to Ipswich. Is that a thing that's been happening?
Yeah, it definitely is, because like the first home buyers, it all just comes down to that value for dollar. And Ipswich is a place where around about that half-hour time period, you can be in the middle of the city, you can be lying on a beach, or you can be out in the country. So we've just got that really nice position where, where else can you buy property where the prices aren't too extreme. We've certainly seen major growth, but it's still for the most part affordable, for your everyday Australian buyers.
Yeah, for sure. And let's have a look at that median house price right now, because somebody in a Perth or a Canberra or sitting in Geelong, they'll have no idea where the median house price sits for Ipswich.
So for Ipswich, we've seen, I touched on that before, we've seen fantastic growth. So in the last 12 months, our median sale prices for a house of, that capacity has increased over 25%. So we're now looking at a median price of about $537,000.
Wow. And what about units and apartments? Cheaper still?
Cheaper still, yes. So they also saw a growth in the last 12 months, and your average unit is sitting around $383,000.
Okay, all right. So people are going, well, that's pretty good pricing. And some of these people listening might be investors because they do listen to the Real Estate Breakfast. So what would you say this morning, Bliss, to any investor with an open mind for Ipswich?
I think come along, come check us out, do your research and, touch base on everything that I've mentioned this morning. It's all about the locale, that value for money. I know I keep saying it, but obviously when you're investing, that's where it's important is, what product can you offer your tenant? And here, obviously, around the country, everyone's seeing it with the housing crisis. We've seen it here with, the stories of multiple applications before properties are even, quite available and the, long line of tenants trying to get in. So, from an investor point of view, you kind of can't go wrong in any suburb of Ipswich.
You talked about the geographical location quite close to Brisbane. What are some of the actual attraction levers and maybe a little bit of infrastructure that people should take note of Ipswich?
We've got a lot of sub-cities, I suppose you could call them, that have been developed in recent years in Ipswich. So the Ripley Valley, that's probably one of our quickest and largest growing growth corridors. So along that whole western corridor, linking up essentially, our Brisbane city to our Ipswich Council, where they're developing these properties that, are emphasising on family living. So it's all about having these parklands and local shopping centres and local schools where you don't need to go too far to get to anything. For anyone wanting to come here or explore Ipswich, you'll probably be, or hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised at what we actually have on offer here. Our population, we're non-stop. Obviously here in Ipswich, we've got our RAF base. So there's a lot of defence personnel in our town, which obviously, with the population growth and the infrastructure that they're putting in to support everybody, the town's kind of not slowing down. It won't be slowing down, I don't think, ever.
And I think that you probably haven't been slowing down all year for 2022. What sort of a year have you had?
Of course, 2022, it's been a roller coaster, I would call it. Beginning of the year, we really did see a peak in our market here in Ipswich. Open homes, I used to joke and say it was like being at a nightclub, trying to let people in the door. It was just gangbusters, multiple offers on any property. You could, sell anything to anyone. Everyone wanted in on Ipswich. Now I feel we are probably moving towards a more traditional market. Obviously, everyone's aware the interest rate rises. Everyone's feeling the pinch. So times are definitely, I suppose, changed, and I'm finding at the moment it's a bit sporadic. I'm still having really solid months, selling a lot of property. I think so far for 2022, I've hit about $30 million worth of Ipswich real estate that I've sold. So really proud of that, and as always, very appreciative of the opportunities to all my clients. And I can't see myself doing anything, and I look forward to what Ipswich, has to hold for the future.
Well, that's great. 30 million plus in terms of properties sold this year. You have yourself a fantastic rest when we get to the end of the year, Bliss. Sounds like you'll need it. And thanks so much for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning.
Thank you so much, Craig. Thanks for having me.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.